Okay, I'll call to order the Tuesday, May 24th, 2022 regular board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Southgate's mission statement is learning for life. The vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. Brings us to the approval of the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Lamas. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. First item on the agenda is presentations, and the first one is the Titan Awards.
Yes. Thank you, President Craig. This year, we started a new tradition. We set aside and set out a description of the characteristics that we value in our student athletes, and really held those as the goal and aim for all of our student athletes. And this year, in an attempt to make sure that we have every opportunity for every team to be represented in this, we did collect and ask every team to select one athlete that represented those characteristics in the strongest way through that season. And this is our very first opportunity to recognize this as a full district. Many of our students have received, and student athletes have received these awards already in their banquets, but we did feel like it was really important to reinforce these values. So I'm going to invite our athletic coordinator, Mitch Dobek, to come on up and share a little bit about this particular award and those that were selected for this.
It's a little bit easier this way. This is actually an exciting time to kind of talk about our athletes in a special way. And coming up with the Titan Award, we had talked about an award that really defined something with many characteristics that didn't necessarily focus on winning, or one that was based off of someone having a role on the team. And really this award was considered for the athlete that represented Titan pride, leaders that lead from the front, and they make sure they're setting an example rather than just talking. And Southgate Anderson recognizes an athlete from each program. So some of the things that the Titan Award recipient or criteria that went into this was selflessness, sportsmanship, commitment towards practice games and continued improvement, honesty, positive attitude, enthusiasm for both their sport on and off the field, court, toughness, work ethic, teamwork, focus, and discipline, perseverance, and exemplary behavior in school. So this didn't necessarily have to be a star player. This was someone who represented Southgate to the best of their ability. And we did this all the way through high school and middle school. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and highlight those that are high school athletes, and then Ms. Beth Hinsman will introduce the middle school ones. The spring season hasn't concluded yet for us at Anderson, so we do not have the Titan Award winners for that specific sport, but we have the fall winners as well as the winter winners too. So they might be here. If you hear your name called, please come up and stand in front. Some were unable to make it, and we still recognize them for their outstanding job well done. So cross country, Joseph Rodriguez. Varsity football, Brennan Emons. Girls golf, Paris Mellert. Boys soccer, Joseph Truel. Varsity volleyball, Grace Piaz. Junior varsity volleyball, Karen Sanchez. For our winter sports, varsity basketball boys, Chase Barbosa. Junior varsity boys, Keegan Jackson. Ninth grade boys, D'Angelo Stewart. Varsity girls basketball, McKenna Freitas. Ninth grade basketball girls was Jenna Hinsman. For bowling, we have Luke Piscatelli. And another bowling is Brittany Manning. Varsity competitive cheer, Olivia Ensign. Figure skating, Virginia Urbanic. Varsity hockey, Josh Calhoun. And for varsity wrestling, Ryan Leonard. These are all our high school athletes. Ms. Hinsman, if you'd like to come up for the middle school.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great job, guys. And girls.
Good evening. We have a couple of our 8th graders that are in Washington, D.C. right now on a class trip. So they're going to come back on June 14th to get honored on that night. So we're going to start out with, we have a couple fall athletes. So for our cross-country team, coached by Josh Shively, and he came today to honor his athletes. We have Charlie McKay. And Logan Farmer. It's a co-ed middle school team. And for sideline cheer, we have Scarlett Sage. For our middle school co-ed soccer team, we have Cyrus Connor. And our 7th grade boys basketball team, we have Cole Cornett. And Mr. Grabitz is actually coaching his daughter's team, so he couldn't be here today. Our 8th graders on our boys basketball team, coached by Mr. Shively, are TJ Picorni and Cooper Randall, who are in Washington, D.C. Our 8th grade girls basketball team is Abigail Juco. And our 7th grade girls basketball team is Julianne Nadolski. Our competitive cheer Titan athlete is Ella Doty. And our middle school wrestling athlete is Sam Cowan, and he is in Washington, D.C. Our 7th grade baseball Titan athlete winner is Aiden Nunley. And our 7th grade softball Titan Award winner is Audrey Engelhart. Our middle school track Titan Award winners are Isaiah Davidson and Habib Mayedi. And our girls middle school track Titan Award winners are Ella Hess and Charlie McKay. Okay, so these are our Titan Award winners for Davidson Middle School this year.
All right. Congratulations. Great job.
Nice.
All right, we need to set up for one of our next presentations, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay? Thank you.
Proud of you. I'm proud of you. It does.
Where'd she go?
Her parents were there.
Where's Shannon? Are you ready for it to be signed?
I'm gonna vote it now.
Yeah. But where's Sharon go? Mitch! Sorry.
Can you go around and see if you get anybody to sign this? This is for Andy Green for
Just get back to
school board.
I know.
Andy right there, the scary looking guy, Mitch's friend. Yeah, like, hey, would you mind for Mr. Green for school
What's
board?
Ron do?
They have to live in Southgate. It'll just be a couple minutes. Nice job. I know.
I was like,
I know. Doka can't even say her name. We've had it. You gotta correct it.
Call the meeting back to order. Thank you for that break. Okay, we'll go ahead and resume now. Thank
Yes, we will. Thank you. We believed initially that we did not have all of our spring sports, but we actually did have track who submitted their names for the spring. And we want to make sure that we do not leave this evening without honoring the two track students that were identified. The rest of the spring sports will be honored on our June 14th board meeting. But we are very excited to announce two others, and the board will be coming up with them for the photo. So the entire board, they will be the only two that got every board member in the picture with them. So, Mr. Dobek, will you go ahead and resume?
All right, for the two spring recipients that are here for varsity boys track, that it would be Alexander Jewell. And for girls track, Maggie Stanley.
Andy's the
And they just rushed you.
Okay, next presentation we have is the MASSW Social Worker of the Year Award.
Thank you. I am going to go ahead and present this. We are honored to have the recipient of Michigan's Association of School Social Worker of the Year here in our high school, at Anderson High School. And I'd like to just highlight some of the remarkable things that Ms. Dunholter has done at the high school. She's, been doing quite a bit of work with students for a long period of time. She has been the first general education social worker at the high school that we've had, and she has absolutely shown us the tremendous power of having a support that is there for students at all times. And I'm going to actually read the nomination that was written on her behalf. I did ask for that individual who submitted this she wasn't able to be here, but I'm going to read it on behalf of her because it captures Mrs. Dunholter so well. This is a very difficult letter to write, as words fail to capture accurately what social workers do and mean to those they serve. I struggle to find the right words to describe a person who can take a person from feeling of hopelessness to one of empowerment, from crying tears of grief and pain to seeing the joy still before them, from the fear of the unknown to the strength to just take one more step. Maybe there's a word for all of this and more. Maybe that word is simply Karen. I've worked with Karen Dunholter for the past 9 years. In this time, I've had the opportunity to observe her work and the privilege to glean skills from her. Karen's ability to remain level-headed in a crisis is an abnormal strength. Perhaps superpower is a better descriptor. With a steady voice, she remains calm and direct in the most difficult situations. She has an ability to speak only what needs to be heard and listen to more than words. Karen doesn't practice school social work because it's a job to do. She does it to fill her soul. That being the case, simply providing the basics of feeding and clothing students doesn't seem to be enough for her. So she goes above and beyond by looking at the needs in individual students and in the school community as a whole, and making plans and instituting programs to meet those needs with the little resources she is afforded. How does she do so much with so little? It's astounding. When Karen saw a need for young students to be connected with mentors and teenagers needing a positive outlet to engage in the community, she created Big Brothers and Big Sisters. By connecting these students with one another, she filled a need in both the lives of the little brothers and sisters as well as the big brothers and sisters. In searching for the perfect mentors for her program, she looked through the imperfection of teenagers into the heart and soul that was longing to connect and give to others. She selected mentors who others may have passed over and sought out those who may not have seen a need in themselves that serving this role could fill. The program has been running for so long now that some of the original little brothers and sisters have now grown into the roles of big brothers and sisters, passing on the lessons they've learned and caring for others to the next generation. They couldn't do this without Karen's guidance and tireless search for funds, including self-funding, because she knows the value of her program isn't measured in dollars. There is a constant drive to improve what is in place, to streamline systems, and increase the quality of information about students and programs to drive better decision-making. With these elements at her core, Karen worked with a small team, recruiting a colleague to build a combination of systems within Google that would unify the paperwork of all district social workers and save time and increase professionalism. She continued to work on improving the questions that are asked of parents and make gathering this information easier for them. All of this information is then digitally housed and all evaluating staff are given access for use. Be it supporting social skills in a high-needs population, the social-emotional needs during a global pandemic, the loss of a student online, on-site or off-site, the loss of staff members, students losing loved ones, basic needs, suicide, threat, or other crisis of any size, Karen is always standing ready to address the challenge. During the pandemic, the district was shaken by the loss of 5 students. Though staff and students were remote at the time, Karen organized both virtual and socially distanced in-person supports for the families and school community. She was ready and willing to offer what families needed and were comfortable with honoring the memories of their children and allowing the school and community to collectively grieve their losses. How Karen manages to carry so much on her shoulders can only be compared to the Greek Titan Atlas, holding the world on his shoulders for all eternity. Even with this weight she bears, she continues to be a mentor and role model to staff and students. I could not be more proud to be her colleague and to have the opportunity to serve alongside her. And we understand now why she was selected as the School Social Worker of the Year for the state of Michigan. Come on up and we have a plaque.
This time.
Okay, the next presentation is the fiscal year 23 original budget first read.
Yes, if the board can take a seat down in the audience, we'll go ahead and lower the screen for the presentation.
That's good. All right, good evening. Tonight we're having a first read on the proposed original budget for 2022, 2023. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the assumptions that this budget is based upon, and starting off with revenues. The assumptions are that in our local sources area, you see there for $5,441,399, that our local tax revenue will be based on the full 18 mil levy authorized by law on taxable non-principal residence property, except commercial personal. Also within that category is a $46,000 reduction in anticipated property tax revenue based on the most recent tax tables that we received from the treasurer's office. Within the state sources, $33,084,374. We are assuming the foundation allowance is projected to increase by $400 per pupil. And the fall of 2022 enrollment is projected to increase by 50 pupils. Under federal sources, $6,785,170. We have assumed that ESSER II funds will be completely expended by June 30 of 2022. And under other sources, our enhancement revenue is budgeted at 25% less than we had received in the last 6 years due to the PSA inclusion in distribution. So that figure drops slightly. Under our expenditures, the total instruction costs here of $28,550,473 includes all negotiated contracts for 2022, 2023. It includes projected severance budgeted at $300,000, which is based on an estimate of 10 teacher retirements. The hard cap on our insurance costs increases 1.3%, and our retirement costs have been budgeted at an average of 28.23%, which there is no increase there. We only received an increase in the UAL of 1.6%, and that figure is 16.65, but we get that revenue back from the state. So in actuality, there's not an increase to the retirement at this point. Scrolling down. Into the next section. The things of note are under general administration. That's your function 2.3. $967,230 includes central office restructuring. And then operations and maintenance, function 261 of $4,163,665. The changes there of note are $90,000 for a facilities director and $50,000 added for swimming pool maintenance for next year. Then under function 271, pupil transportation, as we bring back busing district-wide, we have a cost noted of $1,939,183. And that's an increase of $850,000 for our transportation budget, of which $350,000 is coming from the district and $500,000 will be coming from ESSER III. Then function 2.9 for athletics, we're at $994,307. And we have added there an athletic coordinator position. We have enhancement dollars allocated at $386,650, which is distributed as follows: $250,000 for athletics, $100,000 for maintenance, $6,000 for K-8 robotics, $25,000 for band, and $5,650 for transportation for some of our clubs: Quiz Bowl, robotics, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and band. Then we come to debt service, which is the function 5. And we have $40,535, and the change there is the GASB 87 implementation, and that's a new change in the way operating leases are recognized in our financial statements. And that actually takes effect this current year, 21-22, but this would reflect the new calculation for 22-23. And overall, the projected general fund balance as a percentage of our prior year expenditures is 10.2%. Per Board Policy 5002, this requires that we will endeavor to maintain an end-year general fund balance of 10% of the preceding year's expenditures. And we believe we've done that here. The following are the unknowns at this time in this budget. The commercial personal property debt levy calculation is being calculated right now by PFM Asset Management, and we do not expect that it will reduce from 5.85, but we will have a final information for you on June 14th. The There we go. All right, so there's our bottom line projected. The foundation allowance per pupil is not determined yet by the state, and they are also required to complete their budget by July 1. The fall 2022 pupil count is not known at this time. That will be known in October. The ESSER 3 estimated allocation of $5.4 million has not been fully released or distributed across all budget expenditure lines as of yet. Additional bargaining unit contracts will be negotiated for 2022 and 2023. And the impact of fewer free and reduced count based on reduced reporting requirements is not yet known. So, very high level until our hearing will be held, for those of you listening, on June 14th, and expect to have a little bit more detail at that point as required. Dark.
So we're all set with the presentations now?
We're set.
Okay, takes us to item F, which is citizens' comments. I have one from Mr. Pulaski. You get to stand front and center tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. Robert Pulowski, and I live at 12757 Chestnut Street in my hometown of Southgate, born and raised. So first thing I'd like to start off with is our Titans that have received awards tonight. Congratulations to them, and also our Social Worker of the Year, Karen. She does lovely work in this district, and I look forward to seeing more lovely work she brings to this district in the near future. But to everyone that's received awards tonight, congratulations. You're bringing this district to where it needs to be, and we look forward to the future work of this district. Now, the second thing I'd like to jump on, Barb, I'm going to talk a little bit about the budget. I took some notes when we were going through the budget. The problem I have is I didn't see really a lot of advertising for the district. I'm going to jump on two examples. The city of Detroit and their bus transportation system and E-Course Public Schools. They have put dozens and dozens of money into getting advertising to recruit people from other districts by just saying, become a part of E-Course's district. Southfield and I-75, you can't miss that billboard with E-Course Public Schools. It's really drawn a lot of people. I've talked to a couple students in E-Course too. The amount of teachers and students that we brought into the district over there compared to the lack of advertising here, I think there needs to be more of that, especially added into this budget. In regards to our total right now at $5,080 and $257 for the total budget this year, that's kind of a letdown, especially to the $5,338 that we had last year. I think there could have been more money added and more money asked from the county and more from the state. I would just make that as something for next year, because I know we have the pool coming in and possibly more students. You know, we need more Titan pride. And the lack of money that we're getting, especially what we've seen this year, we cannot have that next year. And I think that more work needs to be done when we come to the 23-24 budget. But, you know, other than that, it was a really good budget. I got to give you credits, Will and Barb, for how much work you put into it. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing a public hearing. But just in mind, I think there needs to be just a separate meeting, just a separate public hearing for people to come in, students, teachers, and also board members, for people to speak on the budget, because I anticipate there's probably going to be some people speaking on this. But as always, thank you for the time and opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment. And brings us to item G, which is the superintendent's update.
I only have a few words, which we are nearing the end of our school year. We have lots of exciting activities, recognitions that are moving forward, especially for our seniors as they approach their last day on Thursday. It's an emotional moment for many. I do want to remind everyone to continue to make good choices as they near the end of the school year.
Thank you. Okay, item H is the consent agenda. That consists of minutes from May 10, 2022 workshop, the May 10, 2022 regular board meeting, and the HR update. I'll accept a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Action item number 1, approval of the district cement work package.
Yes, in the bond program for 2020, we had several projects associated with cement work around the district. And if you walked into Davidson Middle School, you can see a very large area that needs to be repaired. This was in our bond project. We do, though, have a set 5-year rate for cement work that is considerably cheaper than choosing the vendors that we have currently for our bond projects. And by choosing to go with that negotiated rate from 2020, we will have an opportunity to add, for the same amount of money, North Point for cement work around the school that very desperately needs to be done, as well as Anderson High School bus loop which also needs to be done and was not in some of the original projects. So I have a recommendation to provide cement work for Anderson High School, Davidson Middle School, and North Point for the amount of $213,487.25. If we had gone with our current bond, the amount for Davidson alone would have been $227,760. So we're actually still saving money through this process. So we'd like to go ahead and transfer that work to Royal Cement.
So this is a direct contract that we have with them, not part of the Plant Moran?
Correct.
Cressa? Okay.
Yep, we would work just independently and directly with Royal Cement.
Okay.
And the 5-year rate that they gave us in 2020, they are still honoring.
Wow, okay.
So
Very good.
we expect this to be done this summer.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring the discussion back to the table here, and I'll entertain a motion on action item number 1.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve no more than $227,760 for the cement work for Anderson, Davidson, and North Point.
Okay, I have a motion from Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Is that Mr. Lamas? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Action item number 2, approval of the pool and fitness award recommendation.
I'll invite Plant Moran, Cressa, up to talk about the technology.
Good evening. Matt Lindner with Plant Moran. It's good to see you all again. So I'm presenting the recommendation for the sound systems at the pool and the fitness center in the renovated areas here at Anderson. This is a RFP that we worked with in conjunction with BAI Consultants, who is an an acoustical consultant identified through TMP or architects. They had a little better technical skill set for these types of solutions than my team does, and we felt it made sense to bring some additional expertise in. So they wrote the technical specification for this bid. We in turn bid it out, did the analysis, and worked with them to confirm that the solution that we're recommending is compliant with those requirements. Solutions that we're talking about here essentially consist of standalone dedicated audio systems for the pool and the fitness center, one for each, including amplifiers, microphones, dedicated speakers, that sort of thing. You know, in the pool, for example, we're talking about more of an event type sound system than just something that you're going to plug in for music and that sort of thing. So to support the athletic events that you would see in that space. So as I said, we worked with BAI, used their specification, bid the project out. We reached out directly to 6 vendors total here in the Detroit area that we felt could do the work. Through the bid process, we had clarifications and Q&A back and forth with 4 of those vendors. Unfortunately, we did only get one proposal, and that is from the vendor that we're recommending here. We did some outreach after the bids came in to figure out why we only got that one proposal, why we didn't get other vendors to participate. There's a couple of different things that we heard back. We had a couple of vendors that were certainly qualified to do the work, just did not have the capacity to take on another project this year. And then we had a couple of vendors that through the Q&A process really just determined that this wasn't a fit for them. This was these would be vendors that would be just fine to do an audio system within a classroom, maybe not so much in a large area like a pool and that sort of thing, and probably would not have been a good fit for the project. So they declined to bid based on those reasons. We did due diligence on the bid that was received from Sound Planning, so that is the vendor that we're recommending here tonight. Good feedback was received on reference checking. We have worked with Sound Planning in the past and have had good experiences with that vendor as well. So we don't have any concerns with the vendor in terms of their ability to perform. BAI also reviewed the technical proposal and confirmed that it was technically compliant with the requirements that went out in the RFP. So as a result, in spite of only having one bid, we felt comfortable making a recommendation to award this project to Sound Planning. Total amount for the award that we are recommending, bear with me for a second, is $68,212.27. We are also recommending an additional 10% or $6,800 in contingency be set aside to account for any unforeseen changes in the scope as we go through. From a timing standpoint, the vendor is able to meet the timing for the construction and opening of the pool and fitness center, so we'd look for these systems to be installed kind of in the September-October timeframe and be ready for when we need them once the facility's opened up. So again, in spite of the disappointing lack of competition in the bid, we feel like we've got a good bid, we've got a good vendor, and we've got one that can meet the timeframe that we need to support the opening of the facility.
Any questions?
I do, yes. So it sounds like you guys don't have the specific expertise that is required to get this done the way you'd like it done.
Yeah, within my team, I wasn't, and we weren't entirely comfortable designing this solution and feeling like we'd be able to get you to a design that made sense. So that's why we thought it made sense to bring an additional consultant in for it.
So thank you for that. And that, but as a follow-on then, just based on you've done these kinds of projects in the past, I have no rough scale, order scale to understand, what this, should this be 150,000 or 10,000 or whatever? Do you think that in spite of the crazy market circumstances we have, it's a reasonable number?
We honestly, we leaned on BAI a little bit on that, because again, this is more of their area of expertise, and they were comfortable with the costs that were presented.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Sage?
I inquired about the equipment that was coming on.
Yes.
Which I greatly appreciate.
Absolutely.
As far as the warranty is concerned, do we know what, with these amps going in each area, is it a year warranty, is it a 90-day, is it a 3-year?
So I will send an email to Ms. Irvine to confirm. I believe it was a 3-year warranty in the base
Okay.
bid, but let me confirm that and follow
Okay,
up.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
it's, labor's not in there, but as far as the,
The equipment warranty, I
equipment
believe, was a
itself.
3-year base warranty, but I'll confirm and I'll send a
Thank you.
follow-up over.
right.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Just for clarification, this is separate from the pool bond work, right? This is pulled out of the Plant Moran Cressa work, and this is our direct contract with
So this,
Plant Moran, right?
this will be funded from the bond, from the construction budget in the bond, not the technology budget in the bond,
Right,
but it
right.
will be funded from the bond.
Right, but this is not part of our contract with Plant Moran Cressa. This is our technology contract with Plant Moran.
Correct.
It gets confusing because the players have similar names, but
Yes.
they aren't the same.
Yeah, I
So-
am with Plant Moran Technology, not with Plant Moran.
Right,
Cressa,
right,
and
yeah,
this is
that,
part
and
of our
that's what I
business.
just wanted to clarify
Yes.
for everybody, is that even though it is part of the pool project that is being built by Plant Moran Cressa, you're not part of Plant Moran Cressa, you're part of Plant Moran Technology.
Correct. So we're handling technology
Right.
design, so we came with the cabling recommendation for the
Right.
same space and, working through all the technology needs in that same space, but we are absolutely separate.
Right, yeah, because we have had other projects run through you guys that is, again, not part of the same, it's part of the same project, but it's different players.
Absolutely.
So just wanted to keep that clear for everybody.
Yeah, you're
That's
correct.
why we don't see like a budget as part of this, like, if it had come as part of the pool project, then we would see, hey, we had budgeted this amount, or we had figured this amount in the budget, and then this is what it came out to be, and they usually give us a miss high or miss low, or where we are.
And so my
So that's the
conversations
difference.
with Cressa when we were putting the award together was that this was within what they have allocated. I don't know if they've got a separate line item for it, or if they're carrying it on owner's contingency, that sort of thing. Again, that's something I'm happy to follow up on if you'd like me to.
Sure.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood the players were
Yeah.
separate but the same.
Yeah, and it's
So-
separate but confusing.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Absolutely.
right. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, then we'll go ahead and entertain a motion on item number 2.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the bid award of $68,212.27 to Sound Planning Communications for the Anderson Pool and Weight Room sound reinforcement systems, and that no more than 10% contingency fee of $6,800 to be set aside pending contract negotiations.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Sage. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes. All right, action item number 3 is the approval of the softball pitching machine.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to transfer this to our athletic coordinator.
Getting a workout tonight.
You don't do nothing.
All right. Obviously, you guys have the proposal with the softball pitching machine. This would have been a little bit earlier, but obviously with back ordering and being out of stock, this is a new softball pitching machine. The one we currently have is about, I could guess, 15 years old at least. The wheel on it is starting to wear out, and it is only able to really to throw 2 pitches at a time. And the new pitching machine has 7 different pitches so that our softball players would be able to have the up-to-date equipment that other districts around us have. It is a Jugs sports machine with feeder. Obviously, there were 3 quotes that were there. The one from Jugs, which was $5,111. BSN Sports was $4,614.50. The Elite EHAC Attack softball machine was $15,000. That had a video screen and a little bit out of our price range. So the recommendation was to go with the softball machine from Jugs, even though BSN was a little bit less expensive, and that did not account for the feeder, which you are able to put 18 softballs in the feeder at one time to let a batter go through. So it's definitely a machine that is needed. Jugs is pretty good that this purchase is probably going to last us another 10 years. And you know, the current one that we do have is just out of date and starting to wear on us.
Any questions for staff? Oh, yeah.
So what's the typical lifespan of a pitching machine?
Usually it is about, I would say at least 10 years now. The one we have is definitely preceded that span. And they hold up pretty well. I know with Jug Sports, if something happens with it, it's pretty easy to deal with the manufacturer directly instead of going through another company then to turn around and have them contact Jugs, and then you just cut out the middleman and you basically deal with the manufacturer yourself.
BSN is a third party. Jugs is an originator. Jugs makes pitching machines, so it would be a direct vendor. BSN would be working through a middleman, basically.
Oh. So in comparison, I know you said a couple things, but in comparison from 10 years ago to what they offer now, what's the innovation or technology that we can get for this machine?
With it, there's 7 different pitches. You go fastball, changeup, curve, drop. There is, I forgot what the other one, there was like 3 other pitches that they can throw at different angles for the girls to see. It's just not the same one coming in every time. You can set it to whatever you want to see. And obviously with the way that girls are pitching these days, it does help to use a machine, especially earlier in the season. The machine definitely is used probably for the first 4 weeks of spring sports season because we don't necessarily get outside. And then plus the good thing with it is it does come with wheels, and eventually we would like to use it you know, to go outside in the cage so that girls can hit before the game and at least have it set up there, and then it's wheeled back in and kept in storage, locked and secured, just like the one we have currently.
So the one we have currently, does it have a feeder, and how many balls does it, no feeder?
It currently does not have a feeder. It's basically the coach just throwing one at a time into the machine instead of just putting them all in there to let them go. And
And this one's 18 balls at a time? Wow.
Yes. That's the most that they have, and it fits like right onto the back side of it, and you just basically load them all in, and it has like a time release for the girls to be ready for it. So
That's great. Thank you.
I'm all for it, first and foremost, but is there any value to the other one where they'd give us anything, or can that go to the middle school?
it can go to the middle school. you know.
It's still usable to some extent?
It's still usable. I know the one at the middle school was on, it's basically passes down, and the
Okay.
one at the middle school is pretty much, I
Shot.
think, shot.
Okay.
So this one is still usable and workable, and it would still be able to go to the lower levels,
Perfect.
especially with the cages over there too.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on action item number 3.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the bid award or contract with Jug Sports for the BP3 softball machine with feeder for not more than $5,111.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Action item number 4, the approval of the board meeting calendar for July through December of 2022.
Yes, so at our last workshop, we talked a little bit about the organizational meeting construct, and that usually we'd like to have the calendar for the year voted, or at least established at that point in time. So in order to get us there, we've been doing it on a fiscal year, and in order to move this forward, we have a calendar for board meetings for the rest of this year. It means that we would have one meeting in July on the 19th, and that would be primarily a board workshop. If we do have any outstanding items, they would cover, we'd have a meeting at 6 o'clock. If we didn't have any outstanding items, we didn't this last July, but if we do, we'd have that. If not, we'd cancel it. And then there are 2 then per month. I am catching, though, right now that November 8th is actually the election day. We won't have a board meeting on the election day. So we will have to find an alternate date for that. And probably the most logical is to just go ahead and plan for the 15th of November, that particular month. And then, so we can make an adjustment on that. Or we can just delay this, do this as a first read right now, or we can go ahead and approve it and then just make that adjustment in November once we settle that.
Okay. Any input on adjusting that day or any other days on the calendar here? That is an odd one. The election day is the
Yeah,
second Tuesday because
It's usually the
it has to
first.
be after the first Monday. So.
So can we approve it with the,
We can approve it and just make a schedule change when that happens.
okay.
Just one question, our June meetings yet are,
Our June meetings are the 14th and the 28th.
okay.
That's still in place from the prior.
Typically, we end up with one meeting in July, one meeting in December because of the way everything works out with
Right.
breaks. So. Okay, so I think everybody's comfortable with this, and then we'll just find an adjusted day for that November one. I guess we'll just be in touch, and whether we move it up or back.
Sounds good.
I mean, is there a reason we can't do that now?
That's what I was,
I mean, why can't we just make it the 15th? It's just a week later unless somebody
the
has
revi-
some
with the
major thing
revision.
they want to do on the 15th.
You want me to have a board meeting on November 15th?
Why not? Is that your birthday?
Hunting.
Oh, you're hunting. Sorry, buddy.
If,
Sorry. I forgot. And I get a lot of your venison. Scrap that November 15th.
See?
Or November 1st. When's it start? The
yeah, the
second?
first week, you can do the first.
We'll do the first week.
Yeah, like we
So we'd
would,
have
yeah.
2 board meetings.
We'll
Move
switch
it
it with the,
25th and the 1st.
Move it up to the first
yeah,
week?
yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
Well, that's my birthday. I'm just kidding. Joking.
Okay, so we'll change that one to November
First.
1st.
Works.
Okay. Everybody good with that calendar?
Yeah.
All right, I'll accept a motion on the adjusted calendar.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the adjusted calendar to change November 8th to the November 1st board meeting Board of Education master calendar for July through December 2022.
Okay, I have a motion from Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Lamas. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. So now we know what we're doing for the rest of the year. Any employee representatives who'd like to speak tonight? All right. Seeing none, any information or announcements from the board? Dr. Pomponio.
Do you want to go first? This is a message for the students and parents. You have successfully made it through elementary, middle, and now finally high school. Many of you will go on to college, vocational schools, and military, start your own business, or take a break. In any case, we have faith in you and trust that you will always be tight and strong, no matter where life takes you. We're proud and happy for each one of you, but at the same time, we parents are fighting back the tears of joy and amazement of how fast we've gotten here. Congratulations to the Titan class of 2022.
Thing you.
Thanks.
Mr. Freitas.
It's been my pleasure and an honor to get to know the class of 2022 and their parents through field trips, dances, sports, and other events. Our most precious gift is our children. I would like to thank the teachers, administration, office staff, coaches, and everyone else for everything that they have done to shape McKenna into the awesome young lady that she has become. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Green.
I'd like to echo the sentiments of Dr. Pomponio and Mr. Freitas for the graduating seniors, also to all of our students as the year is coming almost to a close. I would be remiss as an educator and a school board member if I didn't just acknowledge publicly that what happened in Texas today and what continues to happen, unfortunately, at great lengths in this in the world we live in right now. You know, in this state, Michigan, with with Oxford, and even what happened in Buffalo, to just keep people be compassionate and kind to other people, understand whether we're up here on the board or decisions that we make or decisions you make in your life affect other people, and when we are trying to do our best up here for your children and to keep them safe. And I know that seems like a hard thing to say because I don't know if there's a guarantee ever of that right now, but I know there's some things coming in place soon about bringing some more things to our school district to put extra levels of security in, and it's hard for someone who all of us, most of us, or I think all of us have children up here, and to be in this profession, to continue to see this stuff happen is pretty sickening. So hug your loved ones, keep people, keep those people and all the people that have suffered the tragedy in your prayers tonight, or however you choose to think about them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sage.
Just, again, sentiments like you had also said to the students out there and the teachers with the end of the year. Thank you so much. I'd also like to recognize the superintendent and the board that's up here. A lot of times we have difficult decisions day in and day out, and we may not be cast as the best people up here. We're trying to make the best decisions we can, and it's difficult, but I will tell you, nights like tonight where we can recognize the students and the athletes and the administration and the teachers, it's a game changer. And you have brought that on, and this board has brought it on, and I just want to thank you. I'll say it time and time again. I'll say it every meeting if I have to, because it is a game changer for this district, and that's what it's about. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's nobody else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, a motion to adjourn by Mr. Lamas. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Dr. Pomponio. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.